y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Toolizz for You, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry and Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram. And I've been somewhat silent. We've been traveling.
Yeah.
Yes. So we haven't spoken to you since the earthquake hit.
Since before the earthquake.
Right. And we were on our way up to Vermont for a baptism and memorial service.
Yes.
Which sounds a little bizarre, but it was really good.
It was a little weird, but it was less weird because it started with the baptism and ended with the memorial. Which
and it was great-grandson and great-granddad.
Right. Well, so I think that worked better than if it had been the funeral or the memorial first and then the baptism.
Well, yeah, and the pastor was really good.
Yeah.
So I thought it went really well. I mean, we were a little going, are you sure? But the pastor was really up for it, and we said, okay. And Rich's dad had been dead since April of 2020, so we figured 4 years in the basement. It was time, and the church that he went to down here does not have a burial place for cremains, whereas one of his sons lives in Vermont, and his church has a place for cremains. So we decided that's really where Dad would do well. Plus, Dad loved going to Vermont. So,
well, and it was a Lutheran church versus our church, which is an Episcopal church, and
and his Lutheran church over here doesn't have
it doesn't have a columbarium.
Right. So anyway, we've got Dad situated. We've got the youngest one baptized. He was pretty well behaved. He loved the water.
Yeah,
the water was good. So it went well.
He did. It was very funny. During the baptism, he could have stood or he could have been held. He at first decided he was going to stand, and then he decided he wanted to be held. And we thought that maybe his godmother would hold him, my cousin's friend. And he was like, no.
Grandpa.
And so he kept on asking for Grandpa. So my uncle got up and held him. But It was very funny because then they baptized him, and then the priest goes, would you like a towel? And I have a video of him going,
yes.
And getting handed the towel and wiping his face. So, it was very cute.
Yes, baptisms of 2-year-olds are very different from baptisms of infants.
Yes.
So it was good. Anyway, we were driving up, and we spent the night in Windsor, Connecticut.
Yes.
Thursday night into Friday because we were splitting it because of Richard's knee replacement. And he didn't sleep well Thursday night into Friday. So as I was slowly repacking and everything, he fell asleep. And I felt the first tremor and heard it. There was a metallic sound as the building moved. And I thought, maybe a truck ran into the building. And then it happened again. I went, that's not a truck. They didn't back up and do it again. So that's an earthquake. And Richard, at the third tremor, hands go down and goes, did the building move? And I went, yes, dear, we're in an earthquake. And he said, no, we're not. Until I got a text from her.
Because we're packing up to get out to Vermont. And we're on our 14th floor apartment. 13 stories above ground. And everything moves. I was putting away dishes. Thank goodness none of the dishes came out of the cabinet. But it happened right as two subway cars were passing each other on the subway line that's outside of our building. So at first, I didn't notice that first rumble because it was the same rumble as the subway.
Right.
And then it kept going. And I was like, oh no. And then I felt it shaking. And I was like, did a subway car derail and hit the building? No. Because then I looked into our hallway and all of our doors are swinging. At which point both Ben and I go, it's an earthquake! Yeah, so that was interesting.
So I got a text from her. Rich says, oh, must be an earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Anyway, and of course we drive to Vermont where they've had a foot of snow the day before.
Yes.
So we said Earl is having so much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
But yeah, so that was, I mean, we're okay. Our building is okay.
Nothing happened to our house.
We were worried. It was so funny. Ben was finishing packing and was like, go check the elevator. because if we have to walk all of our stuff down, that's going to be a problem. And then, of course, I was like, oh no, what if we go downstairs to find the car has been hit with debris of some sort? Nothing was wrong with it, thank goodness. That was not a text message I wanted to send to y'all.
Come get us.
I mean, it would have been, we're going to figure out how to take the train.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you can get a car at White River Junction.
Yeah, we would have figured it out. But yeah, so that was fun. But it added some time to our travels, just because we also then had to call Ben's family, because they all are still subscribed to news alerts for Connecticut, and Connecticut did get hit.
Yes.
So we just want to, we had to call everyone to let them know we're okay. And that the apartment is okay.
People up to Boston, from Washington to Boston, could feel it. Now, my mother was oblivious, and my brother's south of there, so they had nothing. But yeah, it was
on the Ramapo Fault in Lebanon, New Jersey.
Yes, and on the way home, there was a gasoline truck that exploded.
We got out ahead of it. We are so glad we left when we did.
On 95, and I will give kudos to the Audi map system. I mean, I went through some towns I didn't know existed, but I never really got hung up. So that was nice. And the truck was just immolated. It was gone.
I mean, I'm glad we left when we did, because we did not have that.
Yeah. So
and you and Lauren got stuck in it.
See the New England Fairgrounds. I want to say Fox Hollows, but that's not it. Six Flags. New England Six Flags. They had the biggest swing. Unbelievable. This thing that it's like a tower that goes up, and the people are swinging around and swinging around. And I'm all right. So far I've had an earthquake this weekend. I've had a foot of snow, and now I've got a tanker truck that's exploded. And I'm looking at this thing, and I think I must be seeing things, because it seems to me to be very out of the way to all of a sudden see this tower, and then, oh my God, there's really people swinging around it. But no, it's Six Flags New England. Very interesting. So we drove by there. We got to the hotel in Windsor, where you couldn't get a key to the room.
Because we couldn't check out, technically.
Well, this was they think it was a local computer problem. Their key computer wasn't talking to Windows.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And
because the problem up in Vermont was it wasn't turning the day over.
Well,
so Sunday morning, it still thought it was Saturday night.
Oh, God. No, I could check out. That wasn't a problem. We just couldn't get a key. So lucky for the employees in Windsor, there weren't that many people spending the night on Sunday, because they had to escort us each to our room and let us in. So, and I said, well, what happens at dinner? He says, well, come to the office, we'll let you in. And they did. And, maybe there were 10 rooms. I mean, they weren't overrun, but it did mean I didn't go and work out on the treadmill, just because it was just another, drag them off and do something else. Yeah. It's a stupid excuse, but whatever. So then I didn't post that Sunday, because we're still driving on Sunday. We didn't get home till Monday. Then Richard had a doctor's appointment to have a 6-week checkup on his knee on Tuesday. So we got home. I basically went to bed.
Well, and then you got up and you hung out in the backyard and watched the eclipse.
Oh, that's right. Monday was the eclipse. I'm telling you, this week, these couple weeks have been amazing. So we got our zero gravity chairs out. Now, I know that Long Island was only supposed to have 90% eclipse. 90%.
Which
is fine. Cover. I had the glasses with the zero gravity chairs, and we figured rather than just standing out there and running out and running in, we sat in the zero gravity chairs and, had our jackets and looked up, and it was amazing. So I hope you all got to see the eclipse.
Whereas we drove from Vermont over to Pittsburgh, and then Monday we went to Akron, Ohio, which was in the Path of Totality, and it was amazing. I 100% would travel for Path of Totality again. It was absolutely breathtaking. It was so cool. We were there with a bunch of friends, which was really great. I mean, we hung out in a park for like 3 hours. It was very funny because we were coordinating with some other people to be the drivers, and our other friends were like, oh no, well, I mean, Akron's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. We can leave at like noon and still make it there. And we were like, we are leaving at 10. Like, we are leaving at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, this is, no, we are not messing with traffic. Because we had also just spent the weekend in Burlington, or
driving
2 hours south of Burlington. And people were saying that they were going to be getting in their spots and getting on the road at like 8 a.m.
Yes, I mean, if Richard hadn't had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in Manhattan, we would have stayed in Vermont, because Vermont also had totality.
Right, up in Burlington.
And they had really good weather. In fact, some of our cousins, or some of Richard's cousins, stayed for the eclipse. And I had made tentative hotel reservations in the case something happened to his doctor's appointment and we could stay. We had to cancel those. But so, yeah, the eclipse was wonderful.
But it was really cool.
It was wonderful.
All of a sudden, things start getting darker and darker, and like the color starts leaching from the world, it kind of feels like. And then it gets cold.
Yes,
and
it did
windy
get cold here. Yeah.
and quiet. And it was Ben
magical.
Ben kept saying, I now understand why people thought the world was ending when this was happening.
Yeah.
Before you like fully understood what was happening about it. It was really awesome. I really appreciated one of our friends, once totality hit, set a 2.5 minute alarm. So that we knew when we had to put glasses back on. Gave us 30. It was about a 3-minute full eclipse, but we wanted to have some buffer, just so that we did not accidentally blind ourselves. So far, I'm pretty sure none of us have, because we would have had symptoms by now.
I know. So your glasses were good. Our glasses were good.
Our glasses were good. And then our friend brought his camera and a filter for the camera. So we have some really beautiful photos of it.
With the corona.
And it's
just amazing.
Absolutely beautiful. It was an unexpected full day adventure, but it was definitely worth it. And I could totally see traveling again for it. 'Cause it was just one of those moments that
it's just amazing. Here on Long Island, we did have some cloud cover, but we got to see it as it kind of went from lower right to upper left, and it just left a sliver down at the bottom. It was really, and then cloud cover came in, and I just, it's the second one we've seen recently. We saw the one in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I didn't have glasses for that one, but I went outside and I saw the shadows on the ground, because all of the shadows turned into reflections of the moon, essentially.
So we had gotten glasses from a friend of ours. So Rich and I shared the glasses then. And it was amazing. That really pointed out to us how amazing it can be to watch it through these special glasses. So I made sure that I had glasses for this time. So it was great.
Yeah.
Since then, we've had checkup appointments and all kinds of things. So it's been busy for the past 2 weeks.
Very busy.
And I've got 2 more appointments this week, more checkups. I've got a dental fix my bonding. The bonding is only 20 years old, so I can't imagine why it's breaking.
No reason.
No reason. So I'll fix that on Tuesday, and then I've got an eye appointment on Wednesday. I've got the cardiologist on Thursday.
You know what? I'm now understanding why Nan only talked about doctor's appointments. Because when you're retired, that's really your social calendar.
Well, yeah, unless you're doing things like knitwear design.
Right. I mean, you are doing that too, but...
I am, yes. Well, and I'm having great fun knitting. Yes. I finished something.
I did too.
Okay.
What did you finish? Because I don't have mine with me anymore.
Well, I finished my Moma again.
Yes.
This is the 5th collar that I put on it, and I'm fairly happy with this one. It's no longer dragging the sweater down. It does make it a very warm sweater. The boys are playing with drones.
If you hear it. Hey.
In the house.
Hey, it's dark out. They can't play with it outside.
in the house.
The last
but
time last time they played with it together outside, they almost lost one of them.
I know. So if they hurt something, they know they can pay for it.
They do.
Yes, they do. So that's fine.
Well,
so
because
anyway,
also we know the one who's going to run into things is yours,
yes.
not mine.
So anyway, I really like it. And of course, now it's getting close to summer.
Yes.
So I won't be wearing it that much, but it's ready to wear.
Good.
And I'm very, very pleased with it. What did you finish?
So I finished I think it's called Making Waves hat by Xandy Peters. It's the hat that he released like a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit of a bit. My one friend had been, it's called, Winter Wave hat. My one friend, and her husband had come, Ben's friend and her husband? Our friends came up, and we went into Manhattan a few weeks ago, and the husband had lost his hat once again, and kept on complaining about having a hat, and I didn't have a hat in my pockets that was big enough for him to borrow. So, for the bit, I knit him a hat. Because I kept saying, well, if you had told me, I would have had a hat ready for you while you were, by the time you were here. So, we saw them like 2 or 3 weeks later, and he had a hat. Mind you, I knit it on the ride up. I broke a needle.
Oh, right.
I then went to Scratch Supply Co., which was wonderful and lovely and a fantastic experience. I did not buy any yarn. I only got the cord replaced because it was a bit overwhelmed because, as we said, baptism and memorial.
There was a lot to do.
Yeah.
A lot
so
to do.
I do want to go back and explore there a bit more. It was a beautiful shop.
Sounds great.
So that was great. So knit it going up there, and then I knit it going out to Pittsburgh, and I finished it on the way out to Pittsburgh, and then I wove in the ends the morning of the eclipse.
So he had it in time?
Yes. We met up for coffee at a coffee shop, and I was like, hey, I have a thing for you. And he goes, what? And I hand him a hat, and he goes, you made me a hat! And he was very excited.
Good,
so that was awesome.
That he needed.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I do have enough yarn left over to make another one that is in the inverse colors, and I think I will. And I might just keep that on hand for when we get told that he has lost
the
it.
hat again. Yes.
I do have to say, it's made with chunky yarn. It is, once you understand the instructions, it moves very quickly. I misread the instructions, so I did have to frog things a few times, but that's okay. Again, it was in bulky yarn, like chunky yarn, so it wasn't that difficult. I also had a needle roll one of my pages of my needle binder that had smaller needles, so I could put in kind of a lifeline. So that was good. But yeah, so I've been doing that, and then I'm almost done with my test knit.
Wow.
I have, I think, 2 more rows to go, and I've already blocked, and then I have to do the little tiny,
That's
beautiful.
It's like
4 row sleeves. I blocked it because I wanted to see how long it was. So this is the length as per, or pattern length as per the pattern. I tried it on. It looked really good, especially once I realized that it was a 2-inch hem, or 2.5-inch hem at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited, and then I will just put on the little 4-row sleeves, and then that will be done.
Very good.
And then I cast on something else.
Should I talk about this, or you want to talk about that?
I think that then leads into your designs.
Okay.
So another thing I started. So I started my Fittonia sweater.
Beautiful. That is just beautiful.
Which is in Lola Bean yarn.
Lola Bean, okay.
And I ended up doing 2 swatches of this. I did a swatch on size 6s and a swatch on size 7s. Neither of which gave me gauge. I'm slightly off. But I prefer, and I could have gone up to an 8 and tried that, but then I thought that was going to be too open. This is a 7 right now. I can I think the swatches are in here and I can show you them. Yeah, here they are. So, like, that's the 6, I think. Yeah, I think that's the 6 and that's the 7, maybe.
Yeah, you can tell the 7 is more open.
But I think an 8 would have been too open.
Right.
Just because it is DK weight yarn.
Little sweater math, are we?
Well, I did a little sweater math, and I figured out that I could knit a size up, or I figured out what size sweater I could knit in order to get kind of the size I wanted. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm really enjoying it. I think I've got a few more short rows left to do. And then I'm knitting in the round. And I have 2 balls of yarn going. I'm doing some helical knitting. So that you don't get immense pooling. We are still getting pooling, which is interesting because I am using 2 different balls of yarn. But I'm just going to go with it because I don't know what else to do. You know? You go with it. Multicolored yarn. Yeah. You're going to get some kind of things happening with the color. Yeah, and I tried, as I said, I'm trying to knit it with 2 different balls, but it's only working out so far. But it looks really good. It's really fun to knit. I am going to. I want to get the test knit done first, and then I am going to take a look at some of my whips and see if any of those are going to be things that I can get done in about a week.
Ooh, that would
so that I can have a whip finish for April.
Very nice.
And then I will get back to the Fittonia. But yeah.
I understand because it feels good to finally have the Moma finished.
Yeah, I mean, well, and this test I've been knitting since the beginning of April. So, I mean,
longer than that.
The end of March.
Yeah,
something like that. But I got a lot of it done on the drive. Actually, when I broke the needle of the hat, I had another set of cords in here because at the time it was the front and the back, and so I had to knit like the wind while we were driving so that I could join the 2 sides so that I could have an extra cord
for the hat.
So the hat didn't absolutely lose itself. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, trying to knock this top out.
Well, as I said, it was only the 5th collar on the Moma, so I've been working on that, but seemed for decades. But it's done, and I'm happy with it. So now I'm back to checking the pattern for our Nevertheless cable cowl. I did a different tubular cast on. I did an Italian tubular cast on this time, and I like it. I really like it. I thought it was going to make it smaller, but it really didn't. So I may do Italian tubular cast-ons from now on.
Look at you.
I really like them. You cast on the number of stitches that you want. The regular tubular, you cast on half.
Okay.
Half. But this is more like our Judy's Magic cast-on.
Okay.
So it's back and forth like that. And knit every other one and then turn it and knit the other one. Made it really easy. You use a smaller needle, whereas the first type, the regular tubular cast on, which will be linked, both will be linked in the pattern. You use a larger needle because you are picking up stitches in order to make that tube. Whereas this, anyway, it's just fun, and I like it. And it makes more sense to my brain than the other tubular. So I want to call it turnovers, maybe apple turnovers.
Maybe.
So I really like it. I think I should be done this hat by the end of the week, and therefore the pattern will be done pretty much after that. My couple test knitters from the previous 2 cowls, I will send them the pattern for the hat as a thank you. So that was really sweet. Gosadi has been an adventure.
But
wait, let me finish. Okay. So I had been paired up with a woman down in Louisiana and was told that I had been onboarded, and she had matched me up with a tech editor through Gosadi, and everything was just rolling right along. And then I said, okay, well, we have this pattern that we're ready to post because it's been testnet, yada, yada, yada. And she said, well, here's the instructions. And so we have all the instructions. I couldn't find a password.
Mom could not log in.
Couldn't log in. Then you go to the place where it says, send me a link for the password. Nothing ever came. So Elizabeth said that one of our friends is very much involved in Gosadi. Why don't we reach out and see what she suggests? So she gave us the email of 2 of the co-founders.
Yes.
And I wrote to one of them. She then forwarded me to the other person. And they said that I'd never been finished.
Your account had never been fully registered.
Right.
Sorry, you had either a bright red or a bright pink piece of fuzz that slightly looked like an aphid, and I was like, we're not having that.
So I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I had been, up until now, I've been treated really well, and now, so anyway, I've got an appointment with one of the founders on May 14th to do whatever needs to be done, and I will have 3 new patterns, the 2 cowls and this hat, ready to post, and then we will update the sock pattern that I had made years ago, the edition sock, and so we will post that or repost that or update that. Yes, we'll do something to it. And so we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on Gosadi.
So far, we are having a very good customer service experience.
Absolutely.
And,
yes. And I really couldn't have put anything. I could have put 1 cowl up. Now.
Yeah.
The second cowl could go up now. So I mean, it's only holding up maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's not a big deal, and it's a brand new company. So
and again, you're not.
And I'm brand new too.
Yeah, and you didn't get shuttled around to.
No,
16
I did not.
People,
I did not. We reached out, and we got help. So while I'm working on the hat, because I wanted to try it on, I wanted a longer size 4 needle than the 16-inch.
Okay.
Knitting this hat on a 16-inch is lovely because I've got all these cables going all over the place. I've got the stitch markers separating out the patterns as it goes around. So if I'm doing magic loop, there's usually I'm losing a stitch marker. Anyway. But I wanted a longer one so I could pull the hat on. Which meant that I took the needle out of the sweater sloper that I was making. And I think that's going to turn out to be okay because it's getting warmer out there. So my thought is that I should be working on things that are in cotton.
Okay.
So I have, as I've shown you before, I have this that I intend to make into a Henley dress, so I could work on a sloper for a Henley and then finish this on into the dress. Or I bought some stuff from Knit Picks. I bought worsted weight cotton and something called Chive Blossom, which I really like. And I got 6 skeins of that. And then I bought 6 skeins of Alpaca Blend worsted weight. This one we said was blue.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one is charcoal.
Yep.
So I have enough to look at designing the sweaters.
Okay.
I think I have enough. We'll see. But at least I've got worsted weight that I didn't buy for myself. It's very nice making all these patterns, but sometimes I don't want to use the yarn that I bought for a specific sweater for this. And I know that that's crazy thinking, but I'm a little whack. What can I tell you? So anyway, I've got some yarn that's come into the house. What else have I bought? I bought a new suitcase. We found out while we were away that I either had a 19 or a 20-inch suitcase. My old 22-inch lost its wheels, lost its handle, and split the zipper.
So did you see that I was using the Rolly duffel for this trip?
No, I didn't.
Its wheels are coming apart.
Well, so I had thrown away the 22-inch years ago.
Yeah.
Richard said, well, you don't need to replace it. Well, taking a 25 to 26-inch. Actually, the one I have left is a 26-inch suitcase. Then I also have a 30-inch suitcase into which I can place my bicycle.
Yes.
If we were going to the islands and I wanted my bicycle. Yes. So I don't what would be perfect would be a 23 or 24-inch suitcase, which I could not find. Ben tried to help me.
Okay.
And very sweet. And he found a very recommended brand manufacturer of suitcases. But I like red. All of my suitcases are red. And so...
Or the New York hard sides.
Right. And I looked at the New York hard sides. They didn't have one in the right size either. So I bought the 22-inch, 21-inch. So I have a 19-inch, a 20-inch, and a 21-inch. It's a carry-on, but hopefully between that and then I bought a bag.
Oh.
Emma Cruises talked about this manufacturer of bags that she really likes. And it has the one where it can fit over your suitcase. It's got a little flap. So I got something that's multi-flowered, and it has this color on the inside, so you can see what you put in your bag.
Very nice.
Instead of the usual black that I have, where everything disappears. So that's on its way. And with this, first of all, I got 15% off. Cool. And secondly, there's a crossbody bag. And there's some, like a little makeup bag that came with it. So I'm kind of excited about, I think, between the extra carry-on bag, so both are carry-on bags. The suitcase is a large carry-on. Then I want to call it Mai Tai, it's something like that, bag is a carry-on, but it would fit under the seat in front of me. And then the crossbody, I would hopefully be able to fit things for a week. It's not going to help me.
I mean, I was going to say, it all depends on the airline, because like you got to be careful with American. You gotta make sure the crossbody goes in the under bag while you're getting boarded. Okay. Because they'll get shirty with you.
Well, I'm a million-mile.
I know.
I don't know how shirty they'll get with me. And parenthetically, we might become platinum members of Marriott this year. We're making so many trips.
Nice.
So, we have 2 10-day trips planned, and actually there are 10 days at the destination, which means they're really 12 days, because we're now splitting it along the way. And we're going to see my mother in
Virginia,
2 weeks. Right. So that's a Marriott. These other... Except for Maine, it's going up. Halfway is a Marriott, halfway back is a Marriott, but in Bar Harbor, it's not a Marriott.
Right.
I'm sorry. I wish there was, but it's not. So we may make, all I need is one more year of X number of stays. I think it's 50 or 60 stays. And I've got it. Lifetime. Because right now I've got lifetime goal.
Yeah, I know, because you got that off my senior year of college.
Yes. So anyway, we do have some trips planned. My next sweater sloper will either be in the worsted, not sure about that, or in the comfy fingering weight. And as you all know, I really prefer the fingering weight. I cleaned up my area downstairs. I was putting away 5 size 4s. Different lengths. I mean, thank goodness different lengths, but I really have a thing for size 4 needles. So, what can I tell you? So, I've got yarn for designing. I've got plans for designing. I will fix the hat pattern and get it kind of going in the right direction. Send that out to our test netters as a thank you gift. And then it looks like by mid-May, maybe end of May, we should be chugging along with Gosadi and... I believe I'll have a personal page. Okay. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted. But yes, they have been really responsive to my help. I don't understand what's going on. And they went, we don't either. So
glad it wasn't just us.
Strange things, yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't just a 70-year-old woman going, I don't know what's going on. So it was funny when I went to talk to the train club. I went to see some of my friends in the engineering school, and the temporary dean is a longtime acquaintance of mine. He and I were on many committees, and he said, so what are you doing? I'm saying, I'm doing network design. And he goes, not bad. And I said, yeah, I have to learn Adobe Illustrator. He goes, good for you. So all of this stuff had a great deal of meaning for the people in engineering, because I was talking about how you have to plan for structure and all this other kind of stuff. So I had a good time. What else is going on, my dear?
I think that's about it.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I was going to say, your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, my birthday's coming up. They're cooking for us.
Yes.
Yay. But we'll be able to get together next week, you think?
I think so.
Maybe? All right.
If for nothing, maybe it's just me, but yeah.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. As usual, we're not quite sure what's going on.
Well, next weekend is our first weekend of the month that is
not
scheduled. So I only say that because it might be a fully not scheduled weekend, and which also means that he might schedule with some of the guys to play video games.
Yep.
So, and we understand that. Especially since for some of them, it's the only time some of his friends can't really play games after work because they work not the same hours as everyone else. So sometimes Sundays is the only time.
Right. Makes sense to me.
Yep.
All right. So with that, we'll weave in our ends, and we'll see you when we can.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.